I'm Nicole Lappin, the only financial expert you don't need a dictionary to understand. It's time for some Money Rehab. All right, Money Rehabbers. I am really sad today. I am a terrible, terrible liar. It's a skill I don't plan to ever improve on now or ever, and I would never lie to you. The only way I know how to tell a story is to tell it honestly, and the honest truth right now is that I am heartbroken. I am devastated by what's going on in Israel. I'm talking about this because I simply can't talk or think about anything else. So yes, I interrupt our regularly scheduled programming to talk about this, to talk about all aspects and all angles of this, today and in the following episodes this week. I'm talking about this because it affects you and your money, no doubt. Global markets react to events like this. They always have and they always will. But for me, it's also personal. As you probably know by now, I am first-generation American. I've said it 100 times in our more than 600 episodes of this show. I rarely, though, talk about where the previous generations were from, but I am Israeli, and I am proudly Jewish. We did have a slate of shows ready to go this week, but then the equivalent of Israel's 9/11 happened this weekend. That led to the largest number of Jews in a single day killed since the Holocaust. Words feel too small to describe something so big. This attack has geopolitical and macroeconomic consequences that we're only just beginning to realize. So I'm going to scrap the episodes I had planned on sharing with you this week, and instead, over the next few days, I'll be putting together episodes that follow the money trail of this terrorist attack. If you're not Jewish or Muslim, if you don't live in Israel or Gaza, you might not think that this affects you. But here's a quick lesson in macroeconomics. Any war, any so-called black swan event, no matter what country it falls in, will reach beyond those borders and into your wallet. In response to the terrorist attack on 9/11, the stock market fell. $1.4 trillion in market value was lost, and the S&P 500 plunged more than 14%. So in the coming days, I'll explain how this will affect the stock market, oil, gold, and the value of the dollar. I'll explain how your dollars can be used to fund terror and how they can be used to fund aid. Following the money trail is one way to make sense of all of this and to relate to traumatic events in our world's history. But it is trivial when compared to the real consequences here. Nearly 1,000 people were murdered, thousands injured, hundreds kidnapped or raped. People. Innocent people. Early in my career, I didn't tell people I was Israeli or Jewish. I didn't not tell anyone. I just didn't lead with it. And if you're listening to this episode, that might not add up. But my fear didn't come from you. My fear came from the people who have stopped listening to this episode now. The people who hit the stop button because of fatigue, because of disinterest or contempt around listening to the Jewish experience. Or worse, the people who hate Jews like me and wish we didn't exist. Or even worse, actively try to make that a reality. My mission has always been to help all people with financial literacy and on their financial journey wherever they might be. And I am well aware that if I infuse too many of my personal beliefs into my work, people who disagree with me will just stop listening. And I don't want that because every single person deserves the best financial education they can possibly get. I have long worked for the best for every human, regardless of race, gender, religion, or socioeconomic status. And I have long stood up for marginalized groups. And today, I hope you do the same for me and for us. Because we're hurting. I'm hurting. And while I'm an entrepreneur, a writer, a friend, a significant other, I am Jewish first. My goals for my career and my company pale in comparison to the cause that is simply normalizing the Jewish community's right to exist. So I'll return to the beginning of this episode. Why talk about this here on Money Rehab? Well, my voice has long been for you, to help you and to guide you. But my voice is also for the things in this world that are bigger than me and you. My voice is to shed lights on the darkest parts of humanity, to speak for the people who can't speak for themselves. And today that means my voice is for fighting for the Jewish people, my people, fighting against anti-Semitism and fighting to honor the innocent lives lost in Israel. I've seen some of my friends, my colleagues, and politicians out there hesitate before entering into this conversation. They don't want to say the wrong thing or to offend Jewish people or Muslim people. They don't want to stand with Israel to imply that they're turning their back on anyone else. And as a result, I'm seeing these carefully crafted social media posts contextualizing the events of this weekend through the geopolitical prism of this region. Eventually, that will be necessary. But not now. What you say now does not reflect how you feel about the future of the region or Israeli politics. What you say now only reflects one thing: how you feel about Jewish lives, which means how you feel about my life. So that's it for Money Rehab today. Look out for the next few days where we'll dig deeper into the financial implications of the attack. In the meantime, if you're looking for a tip you can take straight to the bank, here's one. Check on your Jewish friends. They're also undoubtedly distraught. A little outreach, a little check-in goes a long way. Money Rehab is a production of Money News Network. I'm your host, Nicole Lappin. Money Rehab's executive producer is Morgan Lavoie. Our researcher is Emily Holmes. Do you need some money rehab? And let's be honest, we all do. So email us your money questions, moneyrehab@moneynewsnetwork.com, to potentially have your questions answered on the show or even have a one-on-one intervention with me. And follow us on Instagram @moneynews and TikTok @moneynewsnetwork for exclusive video content. And lastly, thank you. No, seriously, thank you. Thank you for listening and for investing in yourself, which is the most important investment you can make.